Have you been searching for an engaging way to create a data visualization that depicts flow between stages in a process? Well, then you are in the right place. Hello and welcome to Building Sankey Diagrams in Power BI. Today's webinar is brought to you by Advisicon, where we help you with tools and training to maximize your impact, productivity, and purpose. My name is David Hogan, and I will be your guide today. Here's a quick look at what we'll be covering in the next few minutes. What is a Sankey diagram? Sankey chart basics, preparing your data for use with Sankey charts, and then building an example chart. We'll walk through from beginning to end how to do that, and also touch on some formatting tips and tricks for working with Sankey charts. So first of all, what is a Sankey diagram? Well, if you were to look in Wikipedia, the definition would read something like Sankey diagrams are a data visualization technique that depicts flow or movement from one element of the diagram to another, and where the width of the arrows is proportional to the flow rate of those depicted elements. Now, that's a lot of words to just mean that in this example here, we see that the green color represents money owed to the United States, and the orange represents money that the United States owes to other companies or organizations in other countries. And you'll notice that the width of the flow lines or the arrows gives you some idea of the amount of flow or the volume. So looking at this, you can see that the United States, going along this axis here, owes a lot of money to Japan. At the same time, Japan owes a fair amount of money to the United States based on the width of these flow arrows. You'll notice that China, for example, owns a lot of U.S. debt. We owe them a lot of money. And this little tiny green line here depicts money that they owe to the United States. Again, just a helpful depiction of how, in this case, how debt is flowing between those two countries. So let's take a few moments and discuss some Sankey chart basics relative to Power BI. In this particular example, we're doing a diagram that is looking at testing different ad messages to see how effective they were. In particular, we have message A and message B, and we want to know how many of each ad convert to a gold membership, a silver membership, or the website visitor not choosing to purchase any membership at all. And as we said before, it's depicting flow between two elements, and the width of these lines depicts the volume. So just a couple of pieces of terminology. First of all, these bars right here are called nodes. So in this case, we see two nodes at this stage of the process, and we see three nodes at this stage. Then these lines that connect the nodes, these are called links. So again, you want to remember that you have nodes and links. Every Sankey chart has essentially three data points. It has a source, in this case, message A, and then a destination, which in this case is silver membership. And then it has an amount or a value that is depicting how much traffic is going between these two elements of the flow. And again, that's simply a value. So again, a source, a destination, and a value make up the data for any Sankey chart. You noticed in the last chart that we looked at, or the last diagram, it essentially had two sets of nodes. So we call that a single layer chart, meaning it went from one set of nodes to a second set of nodes. And that's, again, the simplest version of these diagrams. But sometimes we want to be able to do something called a multi-layered Sankey diagram, as you see in front of us here. And it's a little bit more complicated, but easily doable. And so this particular one is depicting traffic on a website. And you'll notice that over here on the left are a series of nodes showing us where different website visitors were coming from. In this case, you'll note that many people are coming from Twitter to our website blog because this particular link is really large. You'll also notice that from search, you have almost an equal number of people going to our blog and about the same amount going to the homepage of the website. But now we want to be able to go beyond that to more layers, in this case, showing that many people are going from the home page to product view, and a certain number are coming from the blog to different places and so on. And then there are some secondary nodes here as well, showing where they might be destined to head to or where they exited from our website. Just again, a simple example of a multi-layered Sankey chart. Now, there are lots of reasons to have some of these multi-layered charts. Some good use cases might be tracking the flow of energy. For example, how much raw material is converted into what type of energy, who is that energy sold to, how much of it are they using, or tracking how much pollution is created by a certain flow of energy from one place to another. Supply chain management, tracking where things were coming from, and where they went to, or how many stops they might have had on the way to their destination, just understanding, again, volume. Even things like patient flow, understanding how many people come into a facility, maybe through the emergency room or through an urgent medical as opposed to trauma problem, as opposed to elective procedures. And then, again, tracking their movement through that particular health system. And of course, an obvious one might be to utilize a Sankey diagram for monitoring finances and how finances are moving through a system. And that's what we're going to do today with our example, is actually create an income statement using a Sankey diagram. The first thing that we want to do is take a look at the data that we're going to be using for this. So as I mentioned, when we're looking at the ad testing, every single Sankey chart utilizes a source for the node, and then a destination node, and then a value that depicts how wide the links are going to be or how large they are in the chart. In this case, you'll notice by looking that I had two nodes. One was message A, the other was message B, and then each of those had essentially three possible outcomes. For message A, you'll have a certain number of gold memberships it converted to, silver memberships, or people that bought nothing at all. And you notice that is duplicated again down here for message B. So this is an example of the data set for a single layer Sankey chart. But in the case of an income statement, we want to be able to have multiple lines of nodes. And so in this case, at the very left of our chart, we're going to be looking at where the money is coming from. Essentially, we have products that we sell, and we have services that we sell. And so you'll notice that, again, each of those application products or those services show up here in the chart. Then the next thing might happen is we want to be able to add up all of those products and services into a single revenue amount. So now you'll notice that we repeat in exact terms. We are taking products and services, and we're now listing them not in the destination column, but in the source column. And then I simply just added up these numbers and put a total for the products and a total for the services. And then their destination is going to be a node called revenue. And you'll see what this looks like in just a minute. It will be a little bit more clear when we see the visual. But now, once we have figured out what the total amount of revenue is, now money is going to start going out. And in this case, the revenue then converts to a certain amount of gross profit, meaning money we get to keep, but it also will be going out in terms of cost of revenue, like paying for contractors or paying for those products. And so in this case, you can see that from the gross revenue, we are going to be able to keep 2.7 million in gross profit and about 4.9 million in cost of revenue. And again, you'll notice that now taking these same descriptions and moving them down to the next set of nodes, from the cost of revenue, part of the cost of revenue is the cost of products, and part of it is the cost of services. And those numbers are represented here. And then again, looking back up to this section, we take this gross profit number, it comes down here, and that will be broken down by operating profit that we get to keep and operating costs such as overhead. And this isn't a detailed income statement, but I think you'll get the idea as we move ahead. All right. So jumping over now into Power BI, we're going to go ahead and get started building our multi-layered Sankey chart for an income statement. The first thing that we need to keep in mind is that the Sankey visualization is not part of the standard set of Power BI visualizations. We have to download that. So we're going to go here and click on the ellipses in the visualization section and choose Get More Visuals. This takes us out to the marketplace where you can get third-party and other sets of visualizations that are available. And to simplify things, we're going to go here to search and type in Sankey just to narrow down our options. Looking at the different options available, you can click on these and get further information, but you'll notice that a couple of them have this blue check mark. That's an indication that this particular visualization has been approved or certified by Microsoft. And in this case, we see that this one was actually made by Microsoft, and I'm going to click on that. Now, all of these pages look very similar. It often gives you a sample of what the custom visualization will look like. It will give you some background information, ratings, and just some overview information. And it will allow you to download a sample visualization just so you can tinker with it and see what it looks like. In this case, I've already downloaded this particular visualization, so I'm not going to do it right now, but you would normally click on Add to add that to your collection of visualizations. And once you do that, you'll see that there's a separate section below the standard visualizations where this Sankey visualization now appears. And so I'm going to go ahead and just click on the Sankey visualization and drop it into my palette here. All right. Now looking again over here at the settings for the Sankey chart, remember that I said the data for a Sankey chart always includes three things: a source, a destination, and a value or weight indicating how wide the link will be between the nodes. So now I'm going to click into my data set here, and I'm going to go to the income statement spreadsheet that we just looked at. And the first thing I'm going to do is grab the From column, and I'm going to drag that into our source. We could call that From column anything. It could be called Start, it could be called Source, a variety of things. Then I'm also going to grab what I titled the To field and drop that into the destination. And now you see our chart begins to emerge. And now you'll notice that a lot of these are all the same width because we don't have any values associated with the different links. So I'm going to grab this amount and I'm going to drop it into the weight. And now the chart looks somewhat more understandable. Now, the next thing I want to be able to do is to do a little bit with formatting. You'll notice that all of these nodes and all the links are the same color. They're all gray, and the nodes are a whole rainbow of colors. Looking over here on the left, these are all of the services that we are selling, and these are the products that we're selling. And all of those are either services or products. So it's just a breakdown of all the products, a breakdown of the services, and those all roll up to this revenue. So this big line here represents all of the revenue we're bringing in from our services and our products. So I want to do some color coordinating. So I'm going to go here now to the formatting section. And first I'm going to go to the nodes. And I'm going to make all of the services and products just different stages of blue. So I want all of my services to be kind of a light blue color. So I'm going to go here to services, and I'm going to set that to this blue color. And then I'm going to go through all of the services that we do that are on this list. Oh, excuse me, we don't have any on quite on this list yet. But now I'm going to go down to products, and for that I'm going to choose a darker blue. So now you can see the light blue and the darker blue. And then this revenue node, I want that to be a dark green color. So I'm going to look down here through the different nodes available and change the revenue to kind of a dark green. So again, the services and products roll up to this green revenue bar. Now I'm going to make all of the services match this services node and all the products match the product node. So to do that, again, scrolling up here, strategy consulting is already blue. I'm going to just set training and process design work. You'll notice they're in alphabetical order, so that makes it a little bit easier to work with typically. All right, and then down here with my products, I'm going to set all those to a dark blue color. So again, my accounting app is going to be the dark blue, and the e-commerce app, I'm going to make it dark blue, and the inventory app, and I'm going to set that to be also dark blue. So now you can begin to see some color coordination coming here. Now the next thing I want to be able to do is looking over here, anything that's associated with a cost, I want it to be red, and anything associated with profit, I want that to be the same color green. So I'm going to come up here to this gross profit, and I'm going to set that to the same green as revenue. And operating profit, I'm going to also set that to be this darker green. Now all these costs, so operating costs, I'm going to set to red, and services costs likewise, and product cost. Okay, so hopefully that's making a little bit more sense now as you look at it. The next thing that we can do with our Sankey chart is to format the links, meaning these spaces in between the nodes. So again, I'm going to take all those these services that we have there, and I'm going to set them to, again, that lighter blue color. So that's strategy consulting and training and process design. All right, and then for the products, I'm going to set them all to the same kind of dark blue to match my node. All right, so there's the product app, the accounting app, and the e-commerce app. All right, it's coming together. Same thing now with the link that goes from services to revenue. You can see here, services to revenue link. I'm going to set that to the light blue color. And again, this products to revenue link, I want to find that. And set that to the dark blue. All right. Now at this point, all the sources of our revenue have rolled up to this line. And now going forward, this is my gross profit right here. And so I want my gross profit link to be the green color, and the same with revenue. Now, everything from at this level here, these are all costs. I want to set this particular node to red because both of these are costs. So it's revenue flowing into cost. So from cost of revenue to service cost, again, I'm going to make this red. And from cost of revenue to product cost is red. And I'm going to jump back here one moment up to my nodes. And I'm going to change cost of revenue right here to, all right. So now you can see the complete picture of where the money is coming in from, how it rolls up into revenue, and then where once it crosses the revenue bar, we have gross profit, and some of that becomes operating profit, or paying our overhead, or paying for other costs. A couple other things that we can do with this. I am going to go ahead and set a property here that dealing with our titles, for example. I'm going to go ahead and select a title and change this to income statement all right, which you can see here at the top. I also want to be able to do a couple of things. For example, I want to be able to deal with my data labels and data link labels. So in this case, these are the data labels, and you'll notice if I turn them off, those disappear. But I can substitute those for data link labels, which gives more information about each segment of the products. I also notice I want to be consistent and not confuse anybody, so I do want to change that particular link back from products to revenue to be the dark blue. All right. Anyway, so I think you get the idea that where you can drill into these and see different information. Another thing that is helpful in different Sankey diagrams, people find it useful to be able to move these around. And so you can see that you can contort this and play with it as much as you want. All of these nodes are capable of moving. And so sometimes people find it easier. For example, they might want to move this back and put something up here at a little different angle. And all those things are possible to do. And so you just want to play with it and see how much fun you can have with it. So in quick review, the purpose of the Sankey diagram is to depict flow from one stage to another and reflect the volume of that flow between the different elements of the chart. And you remember this, Sankey is organized into nodes, which are connected by these links. Data is organized, again, using three components. A source, in this case we called it from, a destination, which we called to, and a weight, or a volume, which we called amount. Well, as always, we invite you to reach out to our team to find out how we can help you in your journey to achieve greater impact. We really appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on future webinars. Have a great day.